So is President Obama becoming a bit more mellow? Did he loosen up once he was locked in for another 4 years? Our chief White House correspondent, Jessica Yellen, takes a close look.
President Obama has been showing his softer side lately, from tears of joy, speaking to campaign workers the day after his re-election.
I'm really proud of all of you. And
to tears of sadness after the Newtown shooting.
Beautiful little kids between the ages of 5 and 10 years old.
He's not just showing his emotions, he's sharing them too.
I wish I had had a father who was around and involved.
Having some fun here with the Miami Heat.
I think part of the reason they came back today is they want another shot at the old guy.
Going off script about Republican tactics.
We're just going to try to shove only spending cuts down, shove spending cuts at us.
What a difference 4 years makes. First-term Obama was known for his cold, detached style. Early in his first term, he failed the empathy test, with this California teacher about to be laid off.
I got my RIF notice on Saturday, and
I'm sorry, you got what notice?
My RIF notice, which means I'm going to be intentioned to be laid off.
A pink slip.
Yes, a pink slip. That's why I'm wearing pink.
Now the president's more likely to wear his heart on his sleeve.
This is where Michelle and I met, where we fell in love.
And using passion for political effect, too.
Gabby Giffords deserves a vote. The families of Newtown deserve a vote.
He once saved that kind of emotional rallying call for campaign-style events outside the Beltway. No longer. The president's biographer says it all changed after he won re-election.
I think we've all seen, since the day after his re-election, a more relaxed Barack Obama, something that took a lifetime for him to get to this point. We've really seen a new Obama.
The new Obama is going where the first-term president generally wouldn't dare, talking about his biracial identity in a eulogy for his childhood senator.
Now, here I was, a young boy with a white mom, a black father, raised in Indonesia and Hawaii, and I was beginning to sense how fitting in to the world might not be as simple as it might seem.
Remembering his troubled teenage years, speaking to kids back home in Chicago.
When I screwed up, the consequences weren't as high as when kids on the South Side screw up. So I had more of a safety net. But these guys are no different than me.
In his first term, the president was far more cautious about his past. On most topics, he just didn't go there. Now, as the president himself points out,
I've run my last election.
He's free of the pressure to woo swing voters, so he's using his stories to try to inspire audiences and pitch policies, bringing a more complete personality into focus.
I don't think one ever knows the real him, but I think that it's closer to being the private and the public Obama coming together in a clearer way.
Don't take our word for it. Even he admits he's changed. Check out his humble brag.
The longer you're in it, the more humble you get, and the more you recognize your own imperfections.
Humility he can afford after winning a second term.
President Obama is never going to be the I feel your pain like Bill Clinton type of president, but he's getting closer.
And Jessica's joining us now, along with our chief Washington correspondent, NACR, Jake Tapper, who's covered the president these past 4 years as well. Jessica, quickly to you first. Are we going to see more of this? Is that what you're hearing? A lot more openness from the president?
I think we will, Wolf, and I don't actually think it's necessarily a deliberate tactic. I think this is how he functions. He wrote an autobiography early in his life. He likes to use his personal biography to pitch himself and his stories. It's how he ran his 2008 campaign. But he just became incredibly cautious in his first term out of, I think, political fear to some extent. And now that he's released of that, because he doesn't have to run again, I suspect we'll hear a lot more about his own personal resume, his personal connections to people, and his own experiences, how he can connect those to the policies he's pitching, Wolf.
And Jake, you covered him from day one during his campaign to when he beat Hillary Clinton for the nomination, and then throughout these past 4 years. Have you seen a similar kind of evolution?
Well, absolutely. First of all, I think Jessica hits the nail on the head in talking about how he's been reelected and he feels a certain freedom, as his biographer David Marinus referred to. Also, I think there's a certain extent here of his learning how to empathize with others. On the campaign trail in 2007, 2008, some of his aides, his campaign aides, would cringe when he would express irritation with people who fainted during his rallies because they didn't have enough wine, didn't have enough food before they came. He has, over the years, learned to show his humanity a little bit more and try to bond with people a little bit more. You saw that clumsy moment that Jessica showed from the 2008 campaign. It's hard to imagine he would do the same today. He's much more out of growth politically. He'll never be Bill Clinton, as Marinus says, but he's grown politically and learned that when somebody says they're about to be laid off, you don't go pink slip. You reach out.
Bill Clinton would have gone up to that woman and held her hand and made her feel, special.
Right, exactly. And I think he's learned from stumbling in that regard as well. I did see him cry one time on the campaign trail in 2008, and that was right after his grandmother died, the day before the election of 2008. That was the first time I saw him cry, and then we never saw him cry again until the day before election 2012 when he was in Iowa.
And with his re-election, I think there's no doubt he's much more self-confident right now about where he stands and where he's going.
And he's just more comfortable being who he is behind the stage, behind the scenes, in front of the cameras, and having those stories. And I think Jessica's exactly right. I think out of caution, he didn't talk a lot about not having a father, for example, although he did talk about it occasionally on Father's Day. He would allude to it, but now he's much more open because he doesn't have anything to lose, really, when it comes to his own future political prospects.
It's nice to see that, too.
And also, it works.
Yeah,
Wolf, I mean,
I agree.
It works.
Jake, thanks very much. Very much looking forward to your new show that'll be starting in a few weeks here on CNN. Jessica, as usual, excellent job. Thanks very much for sharing that.